Good morning and welcome to Gunner Shot. Today we're going to look at the opportunity in Ladakh protests. Well, the protests have happened and they're now tapering off. Wow. Curfew in Leh has been relaxed. Slowly things are getting back to normal. But the fact is the protests have happened. And at the height of protests, I didn't talk because that was not the time to talk. Right. Now we'll analyze it. We'll analyze it from two perspectives. What are the protests all about? Without going into the nitty gritty of individuals, and what are the macro issues involved? What are the things and where the opportunity lies? We have to look ahead. You can't look back. You don't live life by looking back. You have to live life by looking forward. So that's what we're going to do. It might be a short presentation, and I'll take on questions because many of you won't understand the implications of the requirement. You see, ultimately, there are a lot of aspirations of the people involved, right? And things have changed. So aspirations are also changed. India is changing. So these things we must expect. Okay. And to give you a background, the Ladakh I knew at least when I last served there, long back, 20 years back. But been in touch with people there, and after all, army has a huge presence out there. One knows the area, one knows the people generally. What has happened there is Ladakh as a whole was a sleepy place. People weren't very aspirational. People were getting on with life. It's a tough area to live with. Life isn't easy as we think. You know. The whole thing came into focus in '99 with the Kargil intrusion, the Kargil war, and things. And slowly tourism started and development started taking place. Then the Chinese, and then more development, infrastructure development, all that. And till date, Ladakh remains cut off for good 6-7 months in a year, maybe 8 months on a heavy snowfall time, except that today you have the Rohtang tunnel coming through. And even if Rohtang tunnel is cleared, there are places ahead where you can't go through, like Baralachala, which is on the Great Himalayas, which has some of the heaviest snowfall in the world. Okay, and then of course Zojila, it is still to be connected. The new route through Padam is yet to open. It will open. Once it opens, you will get connectivity, but still, it's marginal connectivity. Okay, for people, and it's got the lowest density of population, some four people per kilometer type, right? Square kilometer. So it's remote. It's got Pakistan on one side and China on the other side. And a large part of Ladakh has been usurped by both these. So there are a whole lot of issues involved. And with development has come issues related to climate. There are two variants of this climate problem. One is the local problem, and the other is overall problem. Overall, there is climate change happening, whether it's variability of weather annually or seasonally, or we don't know, but it's happening. But locally, definitely it's happening, because what happens is it's very simple. You do something. There's local heating of the air. If local heating of the air, it draws water. After all, the Indus flows there. There's snows on top. It draws water. You have local rains, mudslides, disasters. So it's a local convection which is happening, and it happens at odd times. So at and you then people have gone and done agriculture. The moment you put agriculture in a dry area like Ladakh, the air becomes moist. Local convection. So these problems are there. So climate activism is there. Yeah, all that. And before we go further, my recollection of Sonam Wangchuk was that he's a good engineer. very innovative guy, good chap, right? I still maintain he's a good guy. I mean, many people might not agree with this fundamental thing, right? But well, he's become political. He's become political. And I still remember going to his place where he built a room which was heated with natural, engineering, or rather using natural energy to heat. You could go into the house in a, be in a light sweater and comfortable in the thick of winters. The design was original, environmental friendly, made from local materials, innovative. Well, as he's grown older, he's become political, and this is a political thing. People say he's anti-national, people say he's national, people, all kinds of things. Well, that's the nature of the beast. Okay, that's the nature of the beast. You see all kinds of positions being taken on the YouTube, or not YouTube, social media, which I thought uh, was unfair to a large extent. Maybe right, maybe wrong, but that's a different story. And we politicize the whole thing, right? But then politics is the name of the game, right? And I think when the time has come when we have to use this whole story as an opportunity to tackle larger issues. It's brought to focus certain issues, and we need to take it further. So I'll go over it in a structured manner instead of unstructured babbling. That makes me a politician, which I'm not. Okay, right. And at this point of time, if someone asks me, "Am I for Sonam Wangchuk?" It's yes and no. Okay, certain things you have to give him credit. Certain things you don't give him credit. You have to have a balanced posture. Because I'm not a politician who's going to take sides for and against. Okay, what is this whole story? When we have to understand this. The state of uh, the erstwhile state of Jammu and Kashmir was split 2019 into the two union territories, one of Kashmir and the other of Ladakh. Okay, this area of Ladakh encompasses that area which is held by Pakistan or usurped by Pakistan and Aksai and others. We'll talk of it. So we're gonna, I'm gonna look at this whole blue thing. I'm looking at the larger picture, right? What are issues involved, and also we'll look at the smaller picture, both. Okay. Now the thing is, 2019 when we abrogated Article 370, we also created the Union Territory of Ladakh after it was bifurcated from Jammu and Kashmir. Now, the Union Territory status was something which was a long pending demand of the people of Ladakh, long back, for a very long time. Why? Because they felt under the politics of the valley, their needs were not met. They were driven into insignificance, and they had a lot of grouse. Nothing was happening there. So 2019, they became a union territory. And at that time, Mr. Sonam Wangchuk put out a tweet saying he welcomed it. He was with the government. In fact, people say, now that he went to Pakistan and participated in a conference, all that, and ascribe everything. Actually, if you go into that, you see that he's taken a stance pro-India there. I'm not an apologist for Sonam Wangchuk. Okay, but that's it. That's the fact of the matter is this. We should see the facts. Right. But now he's a controversial figure. So I'll not pass a judgment whether he's good or bad. But at some point he's become political, and I will treat him like any political figure now. 6 years. Okay. 2019 to 2025. Right. Now let's look at the state of Jammu and Kashmir and the way it exists today, the various divisions. You have this division of Kashmir, which has got POK or POJK, which you call it. Then the Ladakh, Union Territory of Ladakh, Aksai Chin, occupied by China. Gilgit and Baltistan. Gilgit and Baltistan with Pakistan. And this interesting place called the Shaksgam Tract. The Shaksgam Tract is Trans Karakoram, Trans Himalayas. Right? If you see the Himalayan range as emanating from the Pomernot, it's past the Shaksgam. And the Karakoram is the northern range, northern to the Great Himalayas, part of the Himalayan chain. Right? And this tract was handed over by Pakistan illegally to China. We'll talk of all this. It's the Shaksgam tract is between the Agil range and the Karakorams. But I'll do a thing again separately on that. And if you look at it microscopically, generally this is the area, again, within the Union Territory of Ladakh, which is in our thing. There is this part, this one in brown, which is with us. This part is Kargil. Kargil is inhabited by Muslims, largely Shia Muslims, if I remember it right. And this is all the Buddhist areas. Even in this, there are, divisions. There's one part which is the Leh district, which is south of the Zanskar range, or between the Zanskar range and the Ladakh range. And then past the Ladakh range, the Kardungla. North of it is the, area of Siachen, Turtuk, that belt. And then to the eastern Ladakh, you got to go past again the Ladakh range. Then you start hitting the Tibetan plateau. Right? That's the area of Chushul, Tangsei, and all that. And then, of course, Daulat Beg Goldi. That's another region. And further east, towards the south, you come to the Demchok area. A different Pangong zone. That's a different story. So it's got subdivisions, but it's vast, no inhabitation. Oh, this is the sub tehsils of the Kargil district. There are two districts, remember that. Okay. Now, what happened earlier this month, last month, 2 days after 1st October, last month, 20 days back, there was a hunger strike which started by Sonam Wangchuk. What are the demands? They want demand of 6th schedule and statehood. These are two demands. You have to understand this. Someone known has spoken of this, unfortunately. What is the statehood? What is this 6th schedule? What is it? And then this is the official thing which has come out from the government. It is well known that the government of India has been actively engaged with the apex body Leh and Kargil Democratic Alliance. So there's one body in Leh and then in Kargil. Both have their own thing and they're talking, all that. Meetings were held, subcommittees, committees all formed, nothing happened. He went on a hunger strike and hunger strike turned into some loose violence and killing and firing and all that. I thought the whole thing was mishandled. Be upfront. Could this have been avoided? I think so. I think this could have been avoided. But then it has happened, so nothing much to it. And then you see social media, he's being painted as a villain, he's anti-national, he's under the payroll of Pakistanis, he's under the payroll of Chinese. Well, that's questionable because, but the government has not said he's anti-national. They've said he's got funds from abroad. Yeah, all that is there. All these are there. These are things which are there. He might be getting funds from abroad. He might have been turned by Chinese or Pakistanis. I don't know at this point of time. But he's not the subject of my talk today. Subject is further bigger. And the law will deal with him. Whatever it is, law will deal with them. Whether it's a political vendetta or not, also these are politics. Politics are where what they are in India, and these politics are not new only to now BJP doing. Earlier, the same Congress used to do against BJP earlier, so they let them fight it out. We'll talk of something slightly bigger than this, and understanding the issues and how you can project it to get larger things. Okay, so what does Sonam Wangchuk says? He says the past 5 years we have maintained silence and peace. But today something totally unexpected happened. Very sad. It was Gen Z revolution. So he's got that. The moment you say Gen Z, images of Nepal start, the sixth schedule, which was promised, hasn't been heeded. This is the result of the pent up frustration. So, well, at the outset, I don't remember anywhere that Ladakh or anything was, even promised the sixth schedule. Why it can't be promised? Because it cannot be promised. I mean, it's not feasible to implement the sixth schedule, and I'll explain why. So I don't know whether it was promised in private or in other things. We don't know, but never in public. The government of India has never said we'll give you sixth schedule or statehood. Right from beginning, since the day this bifurcation took place, I was always under the impression Ladakh will be a union territory and it is best served as a union territory. Let's be very clear about that. You want to go to statehood, you have to go with a larger aim, and we'll talk. What does government say? Sonam Wangchuk misled the people through misinformation and through mention of Arab Spring, Nepal style Gen Z revolution, mob incited violence. He broke his fast and ran away from there. So both sides are trading allegations. Be that as it may, ultimately the government will win in this case. But in the larger issue, the government has to be careful. There are aspirations of the people. The aspirations of the people in a sensitive area need to be understood. People ask me, does Pakistan have a hand? China have a hand? I'm sure they have a hand. Let's not have any doubts about it. Anyone in that area who, something happens, it's absolutely great news for China and Pakistan. But equally, it's bad news. How do we handle it? Becomes bad news for them. And that's what we're going to discuss. How to make this into bad news for them. Can this protest? Because what is this protest all about? It is about the aspirations of the people. I keep talking back, aspirations of the people. When these aspirations of the people be turned outward in their larger story, that is the question. A moot point. I don't know, someone must look at it from this point. I also see a lot of veterans who have opined, this should be scotched and, all that. They have their views. I have my view. I'm glad to some extent this has happened because this brings certain things into focus. And that is what we are not, I think, is missing from our larger narrative. And this is where we don't know how to make narratives. Okay. Let's look at the sixth schedule of the Constitution. The article has, the Constitution has two articles which are very important for us to understand. The sixth schedule and the fifth schedule. Fifth and the sixth schedule. Both these deal with tribal areas. After all, the tribal areas or the tribes had to be given protection. Right? For whatever reason. Because they were never governed, these tribes were never governed by the British India at that point of time. Through any law, all that, they were never made integral part of India to start with. So when the constitution was made, they said our fathers decided that these people should be given certain special, leeway, and they should be given some special status by which they can be governed, and they can be governed as per their own laws, as per their own norms, which works, incidentally. It has worked so far. Slowly it will get eroded. When that get eroded, they'll be part of the mainstream 100%. But till then, they get special status. But the sixth schedule of the Constitution caters for something called the autonomous district councils in Meghalaya, Tripura, Mizoram, and Assam in the northeast. Right? Why? These autonomous district councils give safeguard and maintain tribal culture. This is for the east. It's not for this. People, don't understand this. Now, the district councils, will talk of this a little later, but I'll give the powers of the district councils a little later, but I'll talk of it outside mention. They have the power to make laws on a whole lot of subjects, including land, water, property, and all in the tribal area. I mean, just to give you a heads up, in the tribal areas of under sixth schedule, land is owned by the tribe or the village. If the village is a particular Kuki village or a Dimasa village or whatever the tribe, the land of that village is owned by the village. Land which comes under the jurisdiction of that village. And the headman is the man who can give away the land or not. No individual can. It's some kind of a collective thing. And that's why when we want to develop roads, railway tracks, and all that in those areas, the land rights are taken from the headman, not an individual. Because everything in that village is done collectively. If you go there, you will understand this. Of course, that's been misused by many people, including politicians, including insurgents, including rebels, including gangs. That's a different story. That's a sordid story, if I say. But that's the nature of India. Okay? The village, and in many cases, the tribals have become greedy. And the tribal leaders exploit each other. And they exploit the people. So it's become very political in nature. And it's got its own overturns. I dealt with them for 2.5 years, so I know the story well, especially in these states, these very states. Okay. Oh, these are the states. Have a look so that you understand. Right. Which are the states which get this thing? If you go into Assam, the Hill District Council, the North Kachar Hill District, Karbi Anglong, and BTAD, Bodoland, Territorial Authority. Now, North Kachar is now called Dima Hasao District. Okay, and that's where I was. My headquarters was in Dima Hasao. So, man, a lot of problems there. A lot of issues. Right? And that's how I came to know all this thing backwards. You conduct elections, you deal with them, and all these guys, right? In Meghalaya, it's the Kasi Hill District, Jaintia, and the Garo Hill District. Okay. In Tripura, it's a Tripura Tribal Area District. In Tripura, there's a tribal area district and a non-tribal area district. So, okay. In Mizoram, it's the Chakma district, the Mara district, and the Lai district. These are all under the sixth schedule of the Constitution, notified. Hill Development Councils live there, ADCs, Autonomous Development Councils, or Autonomous District Council, what do you call it? And it conforms to each district of that state. Incidentally, you don't find Manipur in this. That's the funny part. Manipur, one of the problems of Manipur is there are no hill districts under the sixth schedule. And for many reasons, they didn't accept these hill districts. Manipur has hill districts under the state government. It doesn't work. Okay. There's a fifth schedule of the Constitution. In the fifth schedule of the Constitution, it deals with scheduled area and tribal areas in the states of Himachal, Odisha, Chhattisgarh, Madhya Pradesh, Andhra Pradesh, Gujarat, Telangana, Jharkhand, Rajasthan, and Maharashtra. In this, you can't have district councils. There are different things. I'll not get into it. Just to give you an idea, because there are tribes everywhere else. Okay, yeah, under the scheduled tribe, scheduled caste, under those. So the fifth schedule covers that. The sixth schedule is autonomous district councils. Okay, what does the you have to understand the powers of the autonomous district councils. Then you will understand. Proper elections take place. There's a small council. Council members are like parliamentarians or MPs and all that, but there's a chief executive who behaves like a chief minister, and there are guys who are deputed for each department who behave like ministers, mini ministers in that area. They get funds. The autonomous district councils get funds from the state and from the center. They're generally well off. A lot of money floating in these tribal areas. A lot of looting takes place. I'm telling openly. And a lot of these militant groups, suck off these funds. So it's a bugger's model. But overall, it works. Okay, overall, the whole system works. It keeps everything in balance. I mean, there are eruptions of violence and all. It happens. I mean, that's part of the thing. So that is why development in the Northeast is very costly, because funds are sucked off by all these peripheral forces, get rich people. But in a way, when people get rich, they do their own development and the money goes back in. So it's a cycle. Okay. But people are politically aware of this. And then, the other thing about this autonomous district councils, they come under the governor in some form. In certain things, they respond to the governor, not to the chief minister. So it's actually not a great arrangement. It's an arrangement by practice and constitution. But should we put it elsewhere? It's not. And I'll come to the difference, why this will be a problem. I'll come to this a little later. Okay, what do these district councils and all that do? The district and regional councils are empowered to make laws on certain specified matters like land, management of forests other than reserve forests, inheritance of property and all that, as per their norms, local norms and local tribal customs. They are also empowered to make law for the regulation and control of money lending and trading by any person, local finances they have, right? And that is for people other than the scheduled tribes in that area. So anyone can't go and start, doing financial transactions in this area. Incidentally, no one pays income tax in these areas, right? And all these laws which they make have to be given consent by the governor of that state, not the chief minister. The laws so there is a autonomy. That's the autonomy which comes in. And the governor plays an important hand in that. And they're empowered to constitute village and district council courts, law. They can put law for trial of suits and all that, local disputes, everything, except those which are serious crimes. Anything which carries a thing more than 5 years imprisonment, they can't do. It's only smaller crimes and smaller petitions and all, they can hold court. So there are some legal provisions also given. They can make the law, they can take recourse to judgments, right? Disputes. Okay, the council courts, that's I said, anything more than 5 years imprisonment they can't do. They are empowered to assess and collect land revenue and impose tax on professions, trades, animals, vehicle, etc. So any activity which goes on there, they can tax. It happens. The moment you enter one of these areas of the district council, there's a chap who collects tax. And behind him, there's another militant who's with a gun who will collect tax from him, both from the government and from the guy who's going there. So that's why everything becomes costly. I'm telling it to you in a joking manner, but it happens. Okay. The moment they see a Fauji vehicle, they disperse. And all that one has noticed. So it's a story of its own. I've lived that life for nearly 3 years. About 2.5 plus. Yeah. The district council are given to power to establish. The councils are empowered to grant licenses or leases for extraction of minerals and development and all that. So if there is tomorrow rare earth in Karbi Anglong is a autonomous this thing. So the license to extract rare earth from there has to come to that council. It's not simple, right? They are given the power to establish, construct, or manage primary schools, dispensaries, markets, cattle ponds, fisheries. So local livelihood things they can manage, right? Yeah. The autonomous districts and regions, the acts of parliament or state legislature do not apply or apply with modifications and exceptions. So it's not as if that the act of parliament is not applicable in that area. It is applicable in some manner with some modifications and all that. Invariably, what happens is any act of parliament. After all these have been established under the act of the parliament. Constitution is under the act of the parliament. It has been adopted by the parliament. Okay. So to that extent, the powers of the council, everything, you amend the sixth schedule, all this changes. But the parliament has devolved these powers to these councils. So it is some kind of a federalism. It's a three-tier federalism which we're not accustomed to sitting in, so it's Chennai or Punjab, or for that matter in Bombay. Someone sitting in Bombay won't understand this. You have a federalism between the center and the state. And within the state, these autonomous councils have federalism between the state and the autonomous council. So it's a three-tiered federalism in India which goes on, which not many of us understand. In some manner, these autonomous councils are under the center. For many things, they're under the center. They don't bother about the state. So there's some friction, there's some cooperation, all that is happening. Okay. And then the governor can appoint a commission to investigate and provide a report on any issue. That's important. The governor virtually has the last say there. So you see, it's a very complicated thing. The question is, do you want this complicated story to get put in Ladakh? Do we need this there? Because it complicates everything. It's a very complicated structure, mind you. Oh, when I was there were problems between the chief minister and the autonomous district council CEO, chief executive. Oh. And one had, both had their own pass. And if the guys are from opposite parties, because it's a by election, and if they're from opposite parties, there could be a lot of friction. And if militants come into that area, which are a hell of a lot in that area in the northeast, then the things could be even worse. A lot of these people say, why are these people in camps, ceasefire, sue, all that? You have to deal with all this. So, would you like all this to be in a sensitive area like Leh? My personal view, no. It doesn't need. Do you need statehood there? With a kind of, low population density there, just about 5 people per square kilometer, 4 or 5. And lack of resources and lack of revenue, everything. It's best that it is served through being a union territory. Is there a way of devolving some power to people? It's already there. You have to reform it in a different manner. We'll come to that. Okay. Now, I have to take you to make you understand the story. Take you to Gorkha's land. When the Gorkhaland happened. Gorkhaland agitation. Many of you wouldn't know about it. Go back to 80s, early 90s. In fact, I was posted there those days, 88. That in fact around the time 88, 89, 90, when we young, just about to get married type. Mm, the Gorkhaland agitation was at its full peak. There's a chap called Subhash Gishing, who was an ex-army guy who took up even arms. Of course, thing went on, a lot of agitation, everything. Finally, now what is there is something called the Gorkha Land Territorial Administration, GTA. So GTA functioned under West Bengal. They also wanted, autonomous district council under the sixth schedule, AO, all that. They were never given. So there are precedents to this. And mind you, Darjeeling and Kalimpong, these are the two districts which come under the GTA, are prosperous districts. A lot of tourism, highly, a lot of Buddhism centers are there, especially in Kalimpong in that area, right? And there's a lot of economy there, a lot of population there. There we have not given these autonomous district councils. We have left it as a GTA. And the precursor to the GTA was a Gorkha Land Darjeeling Gorkha Hill Development Council. This was formed, but they had its own problems. It died. It became a GTA, and now what it is under the West Bengal government. I mean, I'll not go into it. So the model, this is a model which could be adapted there. But the problem there in Ladakh is not part of any state. It's a union territory. So under the thing of union territory, you could have these, territorial authorities or hill development councils, not under the sixth schedule of the constitution, because that's a messy thing. But that is already there. At this point of time, there's a Ladakh Hill Development Council. There is also Kargil Hill Development. It's called Ladakh Hill Development Council of Kargil. There's a Ladakh Hill Development of Leh. Two districts, Kargil and Leh districts. Okay. So it's there. So what is there? What do you change by having a sixth schedule thing, autonomous district councils and all? And this is where the opportunity comes. Look at this map. Look, this map is incorrect. Huh? This calls India, Pakistan, China. It is incorrect. I'm just showing it for the sake of explaining, because it gives you the clear idea as to what this is. Union territory of Kashmir. This is the union territory of Ladakh. Okay, at this point of time. But this is Shaksgam tract. This is Aksai Chin. This is Gilgit Baltistan, and this is POJK. These four areas. We need to get them back. Are these protests? Say, okay, we want a state. Yeah, we'll declare a state. But that state has to include Ladakh, Gilgit Baltistan, Shaksgam, and Aksai Chin as a future. When we get back all this, we do this. This will shake up Pakistan and China. Okay, promise a state which encompasses all this. These are our areas. He says, when all this comes, this is our area. And say, this will be the state of Ladakh with 5 districts. Start politics around that after this. What's the future? We need to take back. The moment you start a political outreach into Gilgit Baltistan, you see the change. There are, as it is in Gilgit Baltistan in this area, there's hardly a day which goes by with no local protests. There are protests, like I said earlier, on the Karakoram highway. The Karakoram highway comes from somewhere here. Yeah, this is the Karakoram highway comes. That's called the Karakoram highway, though it passes through the Kunjarap Pass. For quite some time, there have been tiffs between the locals and the Chinese on the Punjab Pass. Many times that highway gets blocked because people in Gilgit-Baltistan are protesting. Yeah, give them. Will you come be part of India? We'll give you statehood. Then it becomes viable. It becomes viable. This whole story becomes viable. Can you, right? Can the people see ultimately what people don't understand, many of us, is that the people matter. At times, many times, the governments lose sight of this, and they feel that governments are formed based on elections and all, but people stop mattering after that. But the people's aspirations matter. Their statehood aspiration is a good aspiration. But we should say, okay, they should start saying, we want a statehood which comprises of Gilgit-Baltistan and this and Shaksgam Valley and Aksai. Let them start this as a demand. Why only the autonomous district councils and statehood and all that? Why only confine your ambition to this? Your aspiration should. This is where a person like Sonam Wangchuk, who's got international recognition, will come in handy. Speak to him and convert this into a political agitation for the larger Ladakh, which we have lost. You have a Chinese occupied Ladakh and you have a Pakistani occupied Ladakh. And then usurped territory. I mean, those of you who don't know what's the thing of Shaksgam Valley, it has been ceded by Pakistan to China with the proviso that ultimately the status of Shaksgam Valley will be decided when the status of J&K is decided. And then China will talk to the appropriate party. So if you can politically do an outreach into GB and start the story going, I can assure you it will shake up everyone. And you start the story going this side, you can't stop it going this side. The day you bifurcated Article 370, it shook China up and they started thinking of Eastern Ladakh problems. The political, see, when that is why they have changed those two areas into districts of Xinjiang. No more part of Tibet. Aksai. So that administratively they are now under Xinjiang. So tomorrow, if Tibet wants independence, they might give everything but not give this. They'll say no. Or some autonomy or something has to be given to Tibet. That's the reason why they made it into two different districts. And then you called it Aksai and call areas behind that also as part of India. So do that with this statehood thing. And when people reach out to people, they're all the same, kind of people. The aspirations of people on the other side will start. So somehow get people going to say, okay, we also want independence, we want to be part of them. Like certain people are coming today and saying, we want to be part of J&K. Start this here also. The political outreach is what is important. Look, this problem is political in nature. We will get a solution to it. Peace will come back and lay. I have no doubt about it. Sonam Wangchuk after some time will be released. He'll come back. But the problem has started. No, this problem has to be accommodated in some manner. And hence, you need to put it out. Funnel it out. The environment has changed. People's aspirations have changed. We need to talk to them and satisfy their aspirations. At the same time, people in these areas, 1, 2, 3, 4, are also our people. Reach out to the people. People to people contact. That's the most lethal thing. I've given you an amorphous idea of this whole story, explaining various facets of it. Okay, can we do it? Do you have the political sagacity to do it? And if you have to start this political process, you need to make your forces strong. On that, there's no doubt. Right? So this is what I had to say. Give you a broad idea, the seed of an idea of a political outreach for the areas which are under Pakistan occupation and Chinese occupation. Don't treat it as a local problem. That's where I have what I have said, what I had to say. If you like this story, what I've said, press the like button. Also subscribe to Gunner Shot and join in as subscribe. Members. I'll be grateful to you. Right. With this, thanks a lot. I'll take some questions. I see a lot of people. Right. And I see some people using expletives. I don't want that. If you're going to curse each other, talk nonsense, you can be against what I say, no problems. You can be against the government, I have no problem. You can be for the government, I have no problem. I am neither for government nor for others, other than for the or against the government. I am for India. And I have to talk what I have to talk. Right? Please don't use expletives. Be nice. You have an alternate point of view. Good. This is a democracy. Everyone has a right to speak what he has to speak. We must speak. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So Amitesh says, look, why don't you do a podcast on defensive, offensive Viber Singh? I don't even know who he is. Honestly, I don't even know. See, you must understand, when I do a podcast, I do based on research and facts. Why do I show slides and all that? I can talk all that off my head. I talk because there should be authenticity in what I speak. And when I get people, I know who they are, that they are good at research and they are authentic. If they are not authentic, they don't come. Ye Viber Singh kaun hai? I don't even know. And I don't see these such people. That guy has to have some stature. He has to have some written publications. He has to have some good appointments. Some airy guy who starts a YouTube channel. Well, many guys are there. People from the hotel industry start a YouTube channel and they become famous. Don't do that. I talk with educated people, repute, who publish, okay, who are got public acclaim. Otherwise, they don't come here. Yeah, thank you, Vasu. Morning. And Hans also, good morning. Chetan Jain, good morning. Yeah, Ashok Gazula, good morning. Do you think ISI is involved? Could be involved. Yeah, POK in Ladakh. Yeah, I've spoken all that. Sundar Krishna, good morning. Ladybird Haru, good morning. Sham Devekar also says Jai Hind. Once on travels in Ladakh, we cannot miss the all permeating Tibetan Buddhist energy. Yes, it's a beautiful place. I've lived there. I've lived over 2 years there. Fantastic place. I liked it. I loved it. Right. And it opened my whole mind of the concept of India. Oh, well, Ashok Gazula says Wangchuk is funded by Soros. Yeah, well, look, we can talk what we want. We don't know. Right. And so, like I said, look, 5 years back, here's a man who was thanking Mr. Modi, all for him, all that. And equally, Mr. Modi was quite happy about him. So, things changed in the past 5 years. So, we'll see how it goes. And it's an alternate political system they're trying. It's an opposition, yeah, very simple as that. These are political things that they go on. Yeah, happy Dasra and Ayush Puja. Same to you and happy Dasra to everyone. Yeah, I correctly Ladakh. I was posted in Ladakh. I've been to Demchok. I've been to Chushul. I've been to the border hut. I've been to Turtuk. I've been to the northern portion of Siachen. I've been to Kargil, so I know the area well. Akash, good morning. हिंदी में बोलिए ना हमें भी समझ आए. अजय, हिंदी में जब हम बात करते हैं, दो टाइम हम बात करते हैं हफ्ते में। एक, जब संजय दीक्षित के साथ जब हम जयपुर डायलॉग्स के साथ ब्रॉडकास्ट करते हैं, और गायत्री देवी जी के साथ जब हम ऑल्टरनेट मीडिया में बात करते हैं, हम हिंदी में बात करते हैं। पहले हम हिंदी में बात करते थे, पर जो हमें फीडबैक मिला, पहले तो हम हिंदी चैनल ही शुरू किया था, पर जिस तरीके से वहां गाली गलौच वगैरह शुरू हो गया, तो मुझे पसंद नहीं आया, इसीलिए हमने हिंदी छोड़ दिया अपना चैनल में। ठीक। तो इसीलिए आई हैव नो प्रॉब्लम इन स्पीकिंग इन हिंदी, बट दैट्स द थिंग। या या योगेश Badresa, long time. I hope you're well. And he says, please click the like button, subscribe to this YouTube channel, and put on all notification. Thank you, Yogesh. Good morning, sir. Jai Hind. Thanks a lot, Murgesan. Um, yeah, Nick Bandari has come for the first time and has put a lot of comments. Turkey, Iran, Saudi, Pakistan, everyone now and then raised J&K issue and UN expecting. Except criticizing Pakistan, India never school these other OSCE countries. Why? See, don't get carried away by all. We're talking of. You want sensible answers from me, Nick, hereafter. Don't go all over the country. Don't go all over the place. Don't go all over the world with your views. Ask a question decently and I'll answer you. Okay? Relevant. And if you follow, come regularly and you'll see a certain kind of a, I would say, a picture emerging from this channel, which is of sanity and balance. Okay, good morning, General Shankar. Isn't it the fault of successive J&K governments for not ensuring the development of Ladakh, despite being a strategically important place? Yeah, it has been, but equally, this has been covered by the central government and the armed forces to a large extent. But then that's a fault which has happened. Like I said in the beginning, are we in a fault finding session or look forward session? Fault jo ho gaya. You know that. That is why it was split into union territories like the way it was. Okay. So that's it. Look ahead. Good, Nick. If you're a hardcore Sangi, that's okay. That's not an issue with me. But let's be balanced. Yeah. Ladakh does not have a CM nor a governor. They have a lieutenant governor appointed by the center. Well, that's as per the norms. A governor or a lieutenant governor is as per the norms. Normally, union territories have all lieutenant governors. That's the thing. Yeah. After 78 years, different laws for different people. Can UCC solve? No, it don't. Uniform Civil Code has got nothing to do with the constitutional rights. Or rather, it has got lot. Let me correct myself. It has, but to think that UCC is the server rogue nivarni for this problems of India. Sorry, yeah. People who talk of UCC don't even know the implications of what they're talking. That's the pity. It's easy to say UCC, Uniform Civil Code. Okay, what does it involve? What are the repercussions? What are the fallouts? It's not going to be easy for anyone to put it up. Because UCC is a solution which will beget a bigger problem. Especially because a lot of people in India who propagate for the UCC have wrong motivations. Their basic motive is wrong. Yeah, that's the way it is for union territories. We may consider statehood for Ladakh after the integration of Gilgit-Baltistan. Then Ladakh should have a governor. See, Akash, the way I look at it, and you have raised a valid point. That's what I raised later. Is the statehood should be contingent on Gilgit-Baltistan and Aksai getting back in. The day one of these start getting back in, statehood de do. The carrot for people to reach across. People should be motivated to reach across. Okay. And politics, permeates a lot of barriers. Yeah. The worst part of this is that the people of Ladakh suffered due to the two big families of all that is history, Shritik. We know that. Got no value now. Look ahead. Where in the border regions have you not been posted? Seems like you've been all over the border from JNK. Yeah, I have served in JNK. I have served in Rajasthan. I've served in Gujarat, Rajasthan, that border. I've served in Punjab border, Ganganagar. Know that. JNK, Leh, served in the central sector, served in Sikkim and the northeast. I have seen almost virtually the entire area of the LAC and a large section. A few parts of the LC I have not been, but I've been there, but not served there. Okay, but yeah, that's one of the things that's why my knowledge of ground and people, uh, thanks to the army, I've been enriched, and I can speak confidently with all of you. In 40 years, if you spend 2, 3, 4, 5 years in all these places, repeat postings and all that, virtually about 4, 5 postings in the northeast, 4, 5 postings in the west, life ban gaya, yeah. And in a career of 40 years, one has gone through about 25 odd postings also. Yeah, many shops and businesses in Darjeeling and Kalimpong have addresses mentioned as that is local thing, but I think they have to go by whatever the Gorkha Territorial Authority says. As per their norms, they will have. Yeah, I am from Jammu and Kashmir, live overseas, where day and night I confront Pakistani, and I'm awfully scared of losing JNK because India is confused about its policy and world still. No, no, don't worry, Nick. That won't happen. India is a very strong country. I appreciate that you are quite nationalistic. Uh, Welcome. Just stop getting upset all these things. One has lived there. We know the issues. One has been in anti-militancy ops, anti-terrorism ops, all these in all these areas. India is very strong. Don't worry. You are from a strong country. I feel there's going to be no end to this. Once statehood is given, shall there be constant agenda to push center to give funds, saying Ladakh is poor? All this will happen. This is part of politics. You can't say everything can't happen. Yeah. Leave it. The idea to rehabilitate Kashmir Pandits is good. Yeah, there's another problem. That's a different story altogether. Hmm. Okay, what are the any question? Yeah, are we not using Dalai Lama? We are not using Dalai Lama card. Why are we not using this? I would say it's a little premature at this point of time. Right? It's a little premature. There are issues involved. We should use the Tibet card, but is there a card? There are a lot of layers to this whole story. I think maybe in a year or so we should start, and that is what Chinese are worried about. And many times, these issues, the implied threat is more than the applied threat. We need to start that implying that threat. You're not yet started. Oh, Ashok Gazula, thanks a lot for your thing, and yeah, excellent perspective. And Vishwanathan also says thanks for the detailed analysis. Yep. Thank you for shedding light on the overall situation. Things will make sense henceforth. Yes, there are. Even now, it's making sense. Obviously, then politics, where there'll be one side and against. There in that area, there will be Chinese, Pakistanis. There might be even US guys. All this is part of the story. Yeah, so we shouldn't get upset. The government of India is strong enough to handle all this. Okay, sir, IAS and IFS selection criteria need to change. We need more economics, tech, and defense background people. Fine, I'll give it to the UPSC chairman, a member of the UPSC, General Raj Shukla. I'll tell that. Yeah. We need to have a better backup solution of settling Pandit back. It's going to take time, let's be very clear. Pandit settling back might be emotional for many of you. I've been to places where Pandits have been settled. They're having a miserable time locally. It should evolve into that. And that comes with good governance. Huh? Yeah, people on both sides are unaware of true history of the region. Truth shall set them free. It will take time. Yes, I agree with you. We should start the ball rolling. That's what my thing is. Political outreach to people in POJK, Gilgit Baltistan, Aksai Chin, and Shaksgam Valley. Though Shaksgam Valley, there's no one except PLA. We should start. You start, things will get going. Yeah, good morning, sir. Wonderful analysis. Thanks for taking up this topic. Bring out layers of complicated issues. Thank you. And Dharamveer Singh also says excellent analysis. I don't know whether it's excellent or not. I'm just giving you my own ideas about this. Uh, the which I've not seen anyone discuss this. That's why I thought I'll put this. Yeah, please don't lose your cool because of some off comments. You're straight. No, I'm not. I don't lose my cool. I'm very clear. Even a guy like Nick Bandari, you have to understand his angst. He's got angst. He's got angst in him. Maybe young. I don't know what his this thing is. Angst. So let that angst come out. Sir Wangchuk asking for statehood, but at the same time criticizes the government for destroying. This is kind of conflict of interest. Yeah, I agree. But is Wangchuk the only problem? There are many other problems. You think the government is not complicit in some issues? They would be complicit. So take a balanced view. Where were you during 71 war? I was in school. 10th standard. Okay. And watching. And actually, just after that, I got into NDA. And it was hell of a scare to know that USS Enterprise was off the Chennai coast. India has a complicated, it's very complicated, right? Yeah. Okay, so Nick is again active and quite agitated. Thanks for your valuable response. I will get my answers because J&K is still on UN agenda and Pakistan's ideology will never. No, don't worry. Don't be patient. You don't be patient. There's no solution which is final, and there's no problem which doesn't have a solution. So be patient. Okay. And all of you, take it easy. And today evening we're going to jump. Now we've done touch Ladakh. Today evening we're going to the other end. We'll talk about Manipur. Right. Manipur. We'll talk about the northeast. I'm getting General Nair, PC Nair, Pradeep Nair, who was my BGS when I was a GOC. Right. He was my principal staff officer. Great guy. He commanded Assam Rifles. Finally retired. Very knowledgeable about the Northeast. I'll get him to speak in the evening. So we'll jump from Ladakh to Manipur in the evening. Right, join me at 8 o'clock for a discourse on the Northeast. Till then, have a great day and Jai Hind, and thank you for joining in.